Portraying the Joker has become the modern version of playing Hamlet due to how difficult it is to act as this legendary character. Getting to play the Joker is like hitting the jackpot for an actor. Everyone wants it, but for those who actually take on the role, this dream often turns out to be more like a nightmare. And with many to believe that this role is cursed, this makes people wonder, what aspect of the Joker makes actors go insane? Well, to get a clear understanding, we have to look at a few actors' experience into insanity. Over the years, there have been quite a few portrayals of the Joker, and the earliest live-action version of the character was played by Cesar Romero, who starred in the 60s Batman television series. Now back then, the definition of Batman wasn't quite the same as we think of it today. It was a very campy and corny show, like most sitcoms were in the 60s. Therefore, Cesar Romero didn't go through great lengths to act as the Joker, and he honestly wasn't willing to go through any lengths at all, given that he refused to shave his mustache for the role. So the bar was set pretty low until Tim Burton's 1989 film, Batman. And with this film being the first Batman blockbuster, there was no doubt that the Joker was going to be in the film. A few actors were considered to play the Joker, such as Robin Williams, David Bowie, Tim Curry, and William Dafoe. But the role ended up going to Jack Nicholson. And like Cesar Romero, Jack Nicholson didn't really take the role very serious, given that he was just playing himself in a Joker costume. Michael Keaton even reaffirmed this in an interview with David Letterman.
One day he looked over at me. We're both being made up in our suits. And he just looks at me and says, well, we just gotta let the wardrobe do the acting, kid.
Although fans loved Jack Nicholson as the Joker, the role still required little demand, and there was definitely room for growth. However, one actor would completely shift the acting standard it takes to portray the Joker. In 2005, Christopher Nolan released his adaptation of Batman with Batman Begins. This Batman universe was dark, edgy, and real, something that had never been done before in a live-action Batman film. The film ended with Commissioner Gordon handing Batman a Joker card, setting up the villain for the movie's sequel. And with this new take on Batman, fans were eager to see who is going to portray the next Joker. Quite a few actors were considered for the role, such as Robin Williams, Adrian Brody, Steve Carell, and Hugo Weaving. But in July of 2006, it was announced that Heath Ledger was chosen to portray the psychopathic anarchist. This left fans in outrage due to Ledger's history of being a teen heartthrob, starring in films such as 10 Things I Hate About You. But in films like Brokeback Mountain, Ledger proved he could go beyond this typecast, overall reassuring Christopher Nolan that he had made the right choice. Heath Ledger shocked the world with this new take on the Joker. He was chaotic, unpredictable, and disturbing. Although Heath Ledger's Joker is one of the best performances of all time, the character took a toll on his mental health, overall leading to his demise. Because his casting faced so much criticism, Ledger made a great effort to deliver a satisfying performance to his audience. He met with Christopher Nolan to help workshop the image of this new Joker, and they ultimately came to the decision that the Joker would be a mix of the Sex Pistols, A Clockwork Orange, and Francis Bacon paintings. Once he had the foundation, Heath Ledger decided to lock himself in a hotel room for 6 weeks to develop the character. He spent his time reading Batman comic books, experimenting with voices, and meditating on the Joker's mindset. Ledger even wrote in a journal where he took on the mindset of the Joker. Although most of these entries are lines from the movie, some writings were found very alarming. My psychological makeup is radically different from others. Everyone sees you as the pathetic fools you really are. His final entry in the journal contains the words, "Bye-bye." During filming, Ledger withdrew from social interactions while preparing for this role. In an interview with the New York Times, he revealed how he threw himself into the role, saying, "Last week I probably slept an average of 2 hours a night. I could not stop thinking. My body was exhausted and my mind was still going." Many of Heath's friends and family said he struggled to remove himself from the character.
Heath was always in character. So he would come around and, be talking to himself in the corner, like this. And he came up and would walk around me like this. And I would watch him, and I would watch him. He'd walk around the hospital bed like this. I'd watch him. Didn't say anything for maybe an hour.
Ledger began to take Ambien to help cope with his insomnia. However, on January 22nd, 2008, Ledger died from overdosing on a mix of prescription drugs. When Jack Nicholson was asked about Ledger's death, he said, I warned him. The Dark Knight was released on July 18th, 2008, and is now known to be one of the greatest films of all time. And a big reason is because of Heath Ledger's incredible performance. Ledger won an Oscar for Best Supporting Actor that following year, overall becoming the first actor to win an Oscar for playing a comic book character. Ledger's dedication solidified him as a legend, and only an actor crazy enough would attempt to live up to the expectations of this role. And who else is crazier than Jared Leto? November 3rd, 2015. It was announced that Jared Leto would portray Joker in Suicide Squad. Initially, this seemed like a decent choice given that Leto recently won an Oscar for Dallas Buyers Club. Leto wanted to take Joker in a different direction from Heath Ledger's iconic performance. Rather than a sadistic mobster, Leto made the Joker a flashy gangster who was also a drug addict. To prepare for the role, Jared Leto met with doctors and psychiatrists that dealt with psychopaths. He even spent time with people who had been in jail for those crimes. Similar to Heath Ledger, Jared Leto practiced method acting by isolating himself to prepare for the role.
I've never actually met Jared Leto, right? So we worked together for 6 months, and we've never exchanged a word outside of action and cut. We've never said hello. We've never said good day. I've only ever spoken to him as Deadshot and him as the Joker.
However, Leto's method acting went a little bit too far when he started sending his fellow castmates disturbing gifts. Throughout filming, he sent gifts to his castmates such as unwrapped condoms, Playboys with a sticky texture. He even introduced himself to the cast by sending a pig's head to the set.
He gave some really horrific gifts. He had a henchman who would come into the rehearsal room, and the henchman came in with a dead pig and plopped it on the table. And then he walked out.
He gave Will Smith a set of bullets. He also sent Margot Robbie a black rat, but she kept it in order to play into her character as Harley Quinn. However, this time, Jared Leto's weird antics went outside the Suicide Squad set. After filming, Leto went on Jimmy Fallon and gave him a snake. Leto also would speak as the Joker during his shows for his band 30 Seconds to Mars.
Shut it once and for all before I fucking kill you.
Jared Leto's crazy behavior was just a mere glimpse at the psychological torture he was experiencing. Leto stated in an interview with Empire, "It was very painful, like giving birth out of my pee hole. I think I'll be cooling down for the rest of my life." Although the impact of playing the Joker wasn't as severe on Leto as it was Heath Ledger, I think many can agree that Jared Leto's insanity from the Joker still remains due to his odd and chaotic behavior since Suicide Squad's release. Jared Leto and Heath Ledger's experience made it clear that it was not easy playing the Joker. However, Joaquin Phoenix's Joker is not only one of the best, but his experience was one of the most dedicated yet gracious. It is no doubt that Joaquin Phoenix is one of the greatest actors of all time, given his performances throughout the years. People also knew that he was not afraid to commit to a role, especially when he fooled the world into thinking he wanted to become a rapper, but it was all an act for his mockumentary, I'm Still Here. That's why it was no surprise in July of 2018 when it was announced that Joaquin would be playing the Joker in Todd Phillips' new movie. This Joker was the origin story of Arthur Fleck, who is a pathetic, weak, and psychotic citizen of Gotham, who eventually rises up against Gotham's corrupt government to start a revolution. To prepare for the role, Joaquin read books about political assassins, watched videos of people who suffer from pathological laughter, but most famously, he lost 52 pounds for this role. However, during filming, it was clear that Joaquin was losing his mind.
Yeah, it's funny making fun of me. Like I'm a diva. I can't do this, man.
Joaquin said his drastic weight loss was a horrible way to live. Director Todd Phillips mentioned in an interview that the schedule was adjusted to accommodate Phoenix's physical transformation. Because Phoenix's weight loss was not sustainable over a long period of time, the crew had to work within a tight window to complete filming before any potential health issues arose. Although a rush production will usually destroy film, the cast and crew was able to work efficiently, creating one of the best films of all time, overall leading to to Joaquin Phoenix winning an Oscar for Best Actor in 2020. Joaquin Phoenix may not have permanently lost his mind like Heath Ledger and Jared Leto, but keep in mind that Joaquin spent most of his time portraying Arthur Fleck and not the Joker, which may have been the key to him not losing his sanity. Now I think we can all agree that the Joker is not necessarily a cursed role, given that many actors have portrayed the Joker without going completely crazy. However, over time, the expectations for this role have grown, overall leading to actors taking more extreme measures in preparation. While the Joker is one of the most notorious characters of all time, the standards of this role need to be lowered, or else it could permanently ruin the lives of those who portray him.